Hello everyone, good morning. Welcome to Q&A class. My name is Dr. Meghna Garg and I'm biology faculty at Q&A. Students, am I audible? Am I audible? Can you hear my voice? Shubhranshu, can you hear my voice? Can you please respond? Am I audible? Shubhranshu, are you there? Am I audible everyone? Okay, Shubhranshu, thank you for responding. So now we are quickly moving ahead with the chapter which was the fundamental unit of life, and the prerequisites for this particular topic which we are going to cover today would be that you now should be thorough with endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi bodies and lysosomes. So I think in yesterday's class all these three cell organelles, they were clear to you. Do you have any doubts? Any doubts, anyone? Okay, now let's move ahead. So today we are going to cover mitochondria and plastids, and you can expect one question from it. So by mitochondria and plastids, we would be covering in today's class. Now, beginning with mitochondria. What exactly is mitochondria? Okay, one more thing. Just after this class, that means this class would get over by 11:10, and from 11:10 to 11:40, okay, we have our session planned for practice on the platform. So immediately after this class, log into the platform and start practicing on the platform while being present live in this class. Okay, so now let's begin with mitochondria. So mitochondria, it is a double membrane structure. That means it has two membranes present on it. Okay, so you can see this is a double membrane structure. The outer membrane is porous. So this is the outer membrane. Outer membrane is porous. Wait. Yes. So this is the outer membrane. This outer membrane is porous. That means it allows the entry of the molecules inside and outside of the cell. Okay, this is the outer membrane, while the inner membrane is deeply folded. So you can see from here, this is the inner membrane, and this inner membrane is deeply folded into finger-like projections. Okay, these are finger-like projections. These are inner folds of the inner membrane. These folds, they are called as cristae. Okay, so these folds, which you can see from here, these folds, they are called as cristae, and cristae are basically these sites where your respiratory cycle gets completed. That means the main function of mitochondria takes place here. What is the main function of mitochondria? We are going to discuss that, but the main function of mitochondria occurs here in this cristae only. Now these cristae, why the inner membrane is folded into these finger-like projections? Why? What is the purpose for this? So the purpose for this is that they basically increase the surface area. Okay, so they are increasing the surface area for efficient functioning of the mitochondria. Now, mitochondria, apart from this, so you can see from here that if you see this cell, okay, this is the cell. Now, inside this cell, this is again your nucleus. This is endoplasmic reticulum. Okay. Now, this central nucleus has DNA. Okay. And I also told you about the protein synthesizing machineries of the cell. They are the protein synthesizing machineries of the cells are called as. Yes, Shubhranshu. Where does protein get synthesized in the cell? The protein synthesizing machinery of the cell. No, exactly on rough endoplasmic reticulum, what is present, which is synthesizing proteins? Shubhranshu, I think your concept is still not clear. Ribosomes, always and ever, whenever the question comes to you that what is the protein synthesizing machinery of the cell or what is the site of protein synthesis, your answer will be ribosomes. Okay, it will never be rough endoplasmic reticulum. It is involved in protein folding and transport. Although in NCERT it is mentioned that it is involved in protein synthesis and transport, that is just because the ribosomes, they are present on the surface of endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, otherwise they are always involved in folding of proteins and transport. Okay, so now this is ribosomes. Ribosomes are the protein synthesizing machineries of the cell. Okay, now see this. Here you have this cell organelle line, which is called as mitochondria. So this is the inner cristae. Now, if you see this mitochondria, now inside this mitochondria, you will also see DNA. Yes. So inside the mitochondria also there is double stranded circular DNA present. Okay. There is circular DNA present inside the mitochondria. And you can also see some ribosomes present here. Okay. So inside the mitochondria, you have ribosomes also present. So now see from here, ribosomes are present in the cell cytoplasm as well. Ribosomes are present on the surface of rough endoplasmic reticulum. These are also ribosomes. Whereas the cell organelle, which is your mitochondria has its own ribosomes and it also has its own DNA. The cell's DNA is lying where? The cell's DNA is lying in nucleus, whereas mitochondria has its own personal DNA molecules. Yes. So this means that they can make their own proteins. Okay. So using their ribosomes, the mitochondria can make their own proteins. Yes. Okay. So that's why they are capable of making some of their own proteins. So whatever proteins will be required by the functioning or required in the functioning of the mitochondria, some of them will be synthesized by the mitochondria itself. Now, what's the main function of mitochondria? So see, mitochondria is basically one such cell organelle which helps in producing the energy for the cell. Okay. Now see from here, this is the diagram which I told you. Now there are certain reactions in the cell which occurs. Okay. See, whenever you want to purchase something, you go to market, isn't it? Whenever you want to purchase something, you go to market and what do? How do you make the purchase? How do you make the transaction? By giving some money to the person, isn't it? What's Indian currency? What's Indian currency? Rupees, yes. So you pay some rupees. For example, you want to buy a pen and that costs 10 rupees. So what do? You give 10 rupees to the shopkeeper and you purchase the pen. In a similar manner, there are several metabolic reactions which are going inside this cell. Okay. Inside this cell, there are several metabolic reactions going on. And reactions, some of the reactions, they require energy. So just like you spend rupees to purchase something, in a similar manner, these reactions, they require energy in the form of ATP. Yes. So what they do, they require these. Suppose there is a reaction occurring here where the reactants are getting converted into products. Suppose this is one of the metabolic reaction which is occurring inside the cell. For this reaction, you need ATP molecules. Okay. So what will happen? This ATP is basically the energy currency of the cell. That means that is the currency of the cell. How will cell make the reactions possible inside the cell? By spending ATP. Some of the reactions, they require ATP. So what will happen? Now this reaction, for this reaction to occur, the cell needs ATP. But from where this ATP will come? So this ATP will be synthesized by mitochondria. Okay, this ATP will be synthesized by mitochondria. So how does mitochondria make ATP? Okay, so just now we told that ATP that is synthesized by mitochondria. Okay, but how? How does mitochondria synthesize ATP? So for this particularly, the mitochondria break downs fats and carbohydrates. Okay, so there occurs breakdown of carbohydrates, C, and fats. Okay, so this is shown here, carbohydrates and fats and carbohydrates. So these carbohydrates and fats, they are broken down using enzymes inside the mitochondria, and this leads to production of ATP molecules. Is it clear? Is it clear? So now see this. Just now I told you that the inner membrane is folded into finger-like projections called as cristae. So it is basically cristae which are the site of ATP production. Okay, so it is basically cristae which are the site of ATP production. Okay, so it is in these cristae, the inner folds of the inner membrane, where this ATP synthesis takes place. Okay, now, so what are the functions of mitochondria? It produces energy in the form of ATP. And how is this energy produced? By oxidizing, or you can say by breakdown. Rather than oxidizing, use the term breakdown. That will be simpler for you. By breakdown of carbohydrates and fats. And you consume these carbohydrates in your diet. Okay, so whatever carbohydrate and fats you are consuming in your diet, in your daily food, that will be converted into ATP by the mitochondria of the cell. Okay, and this ATP is the usable form of energy. Now, because of this, okay, because of this, that the mitochondria, it produces ATP, the mitochondria, they are called as the powerhouse of the cell. So why mitochondria are called as the powerhouse of the cell? Because they produce ATP. They produce the cellular form of energy. Okay, see, Shubhranshu, there are two set of reactions which are going on in the mitochondria. Okay, so what happens? Suppose this is the mitochondria. So this breakdown of the carbohydrates or fats into ATP, it occurs via two steps. Okay, it occurs via two steps. First, and you have second, likewise this. Okay, so basically in mitochondria, the first reaction takes place here, whereas the second reaction, which finally leads to production of ATP, this takes place in your cristae. Okay, so the second set of reactions takes place in the inner membrane of the mitochondria. Okay, so if the question comes to you like this, that where does ATP production, then your answer will be cristae, the inner folds of the membrane. Okay, whereas if the question is asked where does the enzymatic process takes place, okay, at this level this question won't be asked to you, so don't worry. If the question comes to you where what is the site of ATP production in the mitochondria, your answer will be either inner membrane or cristae. Okay, clear? Okay, so now let's move ahead. So that's why mitochondria, they're called as the powerhouse of the cell. So you can see a person, and because of the mitochondria producing energy, the person is now powerful. Okay. Now, the body eventually uses this ATP for synthesizing various chemical compounds and to do mechanical work. For example, this ATP is now used for movement of muscles, production of heat, conduction of nerve impulses, and etc. Okay. So now solve this question. No, it doesn't occur in the outer membrane. It occurs in the matrix of the mitochondria. It occurs in the matrix of the mitochondria, the first chemical reaction. Yes. The inner membrane of mitochondria folds to form cristae. Yes, very good. Very good. So the correct answer would be cristae. Very good. Now, next. What is the main function of mitochondria? Okay. Yes, very good. The correct answer would be ATP production. Very good. Next. Where are all other students? Why nobody has joined from GISP? Why? Any idea, Shubhranshu? Where are all of these students of GISP? Any clue regarding that? Oh, so they didn't check the timetable. Okay, no worries. Now solve this question. Okay, so yes, the correct answer is option number B. They are involved in photosynthesis. Very good. Now, one more question. Okay. So yes, well done. The correct answer is option number A. Is it clear to you? Mitochondria structure and everything? Are you thorough with it? Okay. Now let's move ahead with the next part, which is your plastids. Okay. Now see, plastids. What are exactly plastids? So first of all, to your clarification, always and ever remember this, that plastids, they are present only and only in plant cells. Okay. Please remember this, that the plastids, they are present only and only in plant cells. Okay. Now see, plastids are again, they are double membrane structures which are found in plant cells only. And they give color to leaves, flowers and fruits. Okay. Now plastids, they are of two types. They can be either colored or they can be either colorless or white. Okay. So now what happened? Plastids, they can be either colored or they can be either colorless or white. Now let me tell you this, that the colored plastids, they are called as chromoplasts. Okay. So what happens according to NCRT? Okay. So chromoplasts are being mentioned here, that they contain special pigments which provide color. So you must have often observed this in the in your nearby surroundings also, that not all plants, they are green colored. Some of the leaves of the plants, they are of different colors. They are either of white colors, they are either of yellowish to greenish colors or orange color, or they can be either of any purple, different shades of yellow to orange color. Yes, you have seen this. Okay, so basically all this color to the plants, to the leaves of the plants, they are being provided by the colored plastids, which are called as chromoplasts. Okay, so colored plastids, they are called as chromoplasts, and these chromoplasts, they contain pigments present in them. Okay, so they contain pigments. And because of these pigments, the plant gets different colors. Okay, the leaves of the plants, they get different colors. Now, the colorless plastids are called as leucoplasts. So there are one another type of plastids present which are called as leucoplasts. Okay, so see from here, chromoplasts and leucoplasts. Now let's see the function of chromoplasts. Now chromoplasts, okay, they contain pigments, and there are various types of chromoplasts available. Chromoplasts, they can either contain different type of pigments. So those pigments, okay, I can tell you the name of certain pigments. For example, xanthophyll. Okay. For example, carotenoid. Okay. For example, chlorophyll. Okay. Now, these are the various types of pigments which can be present in chromoplast. And depending on the type of pigment, the flower, or sorry, not the plant leaves would be differently colored. Now, out of these pigments, the chromoplast which contains chlorophyll pigment. Okay. So the chromoplasts which contain chlorophyll pigment, they are called as chloroplasts. Okay, so chloroplasts basically are type of chromoplasts which have chlorophyll pigment present in them. Clear? Is it clear? Okay. Now, these chloroplasts. So now we know that these chloroplasts, they have chlorophyll pigment present in them. Okay. And whenever chlorophyll pigment is present, then it will give the leaf of the plant green color. Okay. So the plant will be green in color because of the chlorophyll pigment. Okay. So green colored pigment called chlorophyll. Whereas when we talk, so that's how a chloroplast looks like. Now, if I tell you the detailed structure of chloroplast, then chloroplast, I'm telling you the structure of chloroplast. Chloroplast is again a double membrane bounded structure. Okay. And it has got grana. These are called as grana. Okay, I'm just giving you the outline. You may not need to memorize this because not in detail. Okay, and the different grana are connected with each other. Now, this is the chloroplast's stroma. Okay, this is the stroma of the fluid portion of the chloroplast. Now, just like mitochondria, this chloroplast has its own double-stranded circular DNA. Yes, it has its own circular DNA present, and also it has its own ribosomes present. Yes, so just like mitochondria, it has also its own ribosome present. That means, see, chloroplasts' primary pigment is chlorophyll, yet in small amounts they can contain other pigments as well. Okay, but to avoid confusion at this stage, we always tell you that the main pigment of the chloroplast will always be chlorophyll. Okay, if other pigments dominate over chlorophyll, then obviously the plant will not be green in color. The plant now will be different colored based on the color of xanthophylls or carotenoids. Got it? Got it, Shubhranshu? Okay. Now, so if this chloroplast has its own ribosome, just like mitochondria, then what does this indicate? That they can also synthesize their own, they can also synthesize their own proteins. Yes. So these chloroplasts, they can also synthesize their own proteins. Now, I have just told you that which pigment would be present in chloroplast? Which pigment is present in chloroplast? Chlorophyll. Yes. So see, this chlorophyll pigment is present exactly where in chloroplast? So this pigment is present in the membrane of the grana. Okay. This is membrane of the grana. Okay, membrane. Now what happens? We see this is grana. This entire structure is grana. And these individual units, this one circle, they are called as thylakoids. They are called as thylakoid. Okay, so we can say that in the membrane of the thylakoid, okay, in the membrane of the thylakoid, in the membrane of thylakoid, you have chlorophyll pigment present. Okay, chlorophyll pigment present in the membrane of the thylakoid. Got it? Yes, very good, Shubhranshu. Is it clear? Okay. Now, what exactly, okay, is the function of chloroplasts? So the chloroplasts, they help to harness solar energy and convert it into in the chemical energy in the form of food. And this process is called as photosynthesis. So the main role of chloroplast would be photosynthesis. Okay. Whereas the other chromoplasts, which have other dominant pigments, they will give various color to flowers and fruits and to leaves of the plants. Okay, now let's talk about leucoplasts. What is the function of leucoplasts? So see, leucoplasts, they are colorless plastids. Okay, leucoplasts, they are colorless plastids. That means they do not have any pigment present in them. They do not have any pigment in present in them. So what their main function will be? Their main function will be storage of starch, oil, and proteins. Okay, so this is the main function of the leucoplast, that it stores starch, oil, and proteins. Clear? Is it clear, Shubhranshu? What's the function of leucoplasts? Okay, now Moving ahead, so particularly leucoplasts, they are involved in production and they are involved in storage of various kind of food. Now to elaborate this further, let me tell you this, that particularly the leucoplast, okay, this is now you can say a booster or you can say competition edge to you. So what happens, the type of leucoplasts which store starch in them, the type of leucoplasts which store starch in them, they are called as amyloplasts. Okay, they are called as amyloplasts. The leucoplasts which store oil in them, they are called as elaioplasts. Okay, and the leucoplasts which store proteins in them, they are called as eleuroplasts. Okay, this is just competition edge. This is not required according to your NCERT text, but this is just in competition edge. If you want to learn something extra, then you can remember this. Clear? Understood? Okay. Now solve this question. Yes. Very good. So yes, well done. The correct answer is leucoplast. Very good. Now, next. Shubhranshu, I'm unable to get your question. Acha, you want to note down this? Okay, wait. Yes. Take your time to note down this. Inform me once you have completed this. Yes, is it okay, Shubhranshu? Noted? Okay, okay. Take your time. Okay. So this question we have already solved. Now solve this question. Uh, T. Rethink your answer. I understand. Okay, now let me ask you this. What are the two types of plastids? What are the two types of plastids? First of all, answer this. What are the two types of plastids? The two types of plastids would be, yes, colored or colorless. Okay. You name the two types of plastids. The colored plastids, they are called as, the colored plastids, they are called as chromoplasts. They are called as chromoplasts. Okay. So I think there is still some confusion with this. Okay. So wait. See, there are two types of plastids. Okay, Shubhranshu, I'm again explaining this. There are two types of plastids. Chromoplasts. They are colored plastids. Okay. And the next one is leucoplasts. Leucoplast function is already clear to you. Okay. That means they contain or they store various oils, proteins, starch, etc. Now, chromoplasts, they contain various pigments. Okay. Various pigments. And I also told you the name of pigments like xanthophylls, carotenoids, chlorophylls. Okay. And depending on these various type of pigments and their concentration, these chromoplasts will impart different color to flowers and fruits. Out of these, the chromoplasts, which contain primarily chlorophyll as their pigment. Okay. So the chromoplasts, which primarily contain chlorophyll pigment, they are called as chloroplasts. Chloroplasts. And the main role of chlorophyll pigment is to perform photosynthesis. Okay, its main role would be to perform photosynthesis. So now if the question comes to you that which type of plastid contains pigments that give flowers and fruits their color, your answer will be chromoplasts. Okay, because chlorophyll's main role is to perform photosynthesis. Although it would be providing green color, but that is, see, uh, green color it is providing, but its main role is to do the function of photosynthesis. Whereas whenever in nature we see different types of different colors of fruits, flowers, and also different types of leaves, all this is because of the various types of chromoplasts which have different concentrations of pigments present in them. Okay, so your answer will be option number C, chromoplasts. Okay, got it? Now, next question. Yes, very good. So the correct answer would be photosynthesis. So now let's conclude what all have we studied in today's class. So now, Shubhranshu, can you tell me the two, first of all, tell me what is the site of ATP production in the mitochondria? What is the site of ATP production in mitochondria? Christie, yes. So basically in mitochondria, you have Christie present where ATP production takes place. Whereas mitochondria, it is a double membrane bounded structure. The inner membrane is folded into Christie. Okay. So I had also told you the structure of the mitochondria, and this is the Christie, the inner foldings of the membrane. Okay. Now, apart from this, we had covered the structure of chloroplast as well. Now, can you tell me exactly where in chloroplast chlorophyll pigment would be present? Chlorophyll pigment would be present exactly where? In the cell, not in the cell, in the membrane of thylakoid. Okay, in the membrane of thylakoid. Okay, got it? Yes. So now, what's next? So in next class, we are going to talk about vacuoles and also we are going to talk about cell division.